I know how it works. I forgot a bunch of stuff too. It's like, oh boy. And if you can, sit on the inside circle. I mean, we still got a few minutes, but...
Sit on the outside one.
No, don't sit on the outside, because then I gotta walk all the way out there to listen and stuff, and then tripping over chairs. Makes it hard. So
tell us a joke about your summer there, Jeremy.
Joke about my summer. What summer? Yeah, I don't remember summer. We're in Florida, it never ends. We already went through winter. That was like 3 weeks ago.
It was a winter front.
Yeah. It's time. I'm not sure for what though. I'm just practicing and warming up. I don't play that often anymore. All I do is work. Didgeridoo? Engineering stuff. I'm a fire suppression system and alarm system contractor. I don't know. Been doing it for 25, 6, 7 years. I sit in a chair and argue with other engineers. Yep, pretty much. Blow all my frustration through a tube. So, I don't know, one of the things I'm doing in the beginning here, like, you know, I usually play songs and stuff, that it's going to be the example of what I use kind of in the workshop. And I'm still doing the same thing, I'm just doing it kind of separately and independently, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Because some of it's like advanced techniques. So my overall goal with the workshop in general is, unlike the djembe, you know, or other things, there's no like real songs, you know, not an Aboriginal, capital A. This is not like a traditional workshop where I'm like teaching anything traditional. I am not allowed to do that. And that stuff is really hard. So even if you take a workshop, which I would encourage you if you have the opportunity to take something that's a traditional workshop, but the playing techniques are completely different. It's like relearning the instrument all over again. I don't want to say it sucks, but it sucks. Because I've done it, and like literally I know this one guy that I took the workshop with, and he's like, "Are you seriously? You can't do this?" And I'm like, "No." Like straight up. So I went from being as good as however I think I am to not at all. Like, you know, on a dime, because the traditional techniques are very hard compared to what I do. So anyway, but the goal to kind of, with the didgeridoo, is like, we're not learning songs, it's more of a communal experience, the way we wind up playing it. So it's like, I can teach you some things and get you on a particular rhythm, but at the end of the day, the didgeridoo comes down to individual breathing patterns, and kind of, it's just an amplifier for what's inside of you. So, you know, if you're calm, cool, and collective, it might be just kind of like this drone-y thing that has a little bit of a bounce, or if you're like, hey, look, a squirrel, then it all winds up being like fast tonguing rhythms that I like to play. So my goal is basically not just get you making a noise consistently, but then to kind of like set you on a path, but it's really like a collective experience. Like, I'm only as good as I am because I had certain friends in my life that we literally played together. Those things are awesome. They sound awesome too. It's like, what's with the beach noise? But So it's like, you know, playing with other people is kind of important. You know, just like drumming at a drum circle, you know, you find the one and it's the same thing. But like, what's weird about the didgeridoo is like, it's really just breathing. So you're learning to breathe together, and it's like, I can get into energetic aspects of all that stuff. I mean, like, when you're breathing together, there's a lot of power in all that. You know, just like if everybody's in a drum circle and you're playing on the downbeat, everybody's hitting that downbeat, man, that downbeat carries forever. And it will drive your neighbors insane for miles and miles away. But so it's kind of fun. But sharing the instrument, that's really where it comes down to. So like, you know, once you're starting your didge journey, it's like flutes and flute circles get together and they share that knowledge. And it's the same thing with the didge, because like, how are you doing this? How are you doing that? So it's like, you know, watching people's faces, and it's like this, even just this rhythm that I'm doing here. I have that gap so I can reset my mouth to entrain what I'm doing. So instead of just carrying it on, and what I'm doing there is, I'll talk about that pattern in a second here, but I'm literally doing it once and making sure all the parts of my mouth are doing the same thing again. Like, so when you're playing djembe, to translate that, like your bass, tone, and slap, you want to be consistent. So when you're at home, if you're practicing, you want to make sure your hands are hitting the drum pretty much in the same spot, and your fingers are doing what they're supposed to do. So even though there's jumping the gun here, but that mouth movement, ah-ba-wah, 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 it's a big mouth movement, which is kind of like contrary to most playing. But it's literally like doing it in the tube, and feel free to make noise. Like, this is like a participatory thing. I'll tell you to stop if I really want you to. But it's like, if you're seeing me doing that, it's like, how are you doing that? Like my buddy Lindsay, actually, I think he's playing in the band tomorrow. I haven't seen him in ages, but he was the one guy that we were always bouncing off of. He makes noises that I still to this day can't mimic, and I'm still just like, how the hell are you doing that? So it's always about sharing and talking about it. So it's like your tongue position is really important. So it's crazy, but we'll get into all that. Hey, look, a squirrel. So anyway, I'm just gonna play a couple things here that we'll wind up using. This is an F. This is a leather didgeridoo. Same thing with this one here, made by Marco Johnson out of Salt Lake City, Utah. So we'll be all doing that by the end of the workshop, on some level, even if it's just screaming, going, which is kind of what I'm doing, just on beat. So that was an F. That was enough too. Interesting that it's green. Did you follow the chakra chart? Really? It was purely by happenstance. Okay. Anyway, the green is a heart chakra, so it's kind of interesting that I didn't paint that, by the way, but it happens to be green. But with the digits that I used to make, I don't know, I had this whole marketing thing where it's like the colors were all like chakra based and stuff, but it kind of sucked. And then I just wanted to do it custom. It's like, what do you want it to look like? I can't paint roast beans, so it's like, don't go by my artwork. Make a good didge. This is an E flat or a D sharp. Also made of leather, but this one here doesn't like make vocals very well for me, and this one does. And you're talking not far off the scale, so it's weird. But anyway, I moved the microphone to my nose finally. I was like, oh wait, I need to make sure they can hear that. Except for the next guy who's doing the next workshop.
Incredible.
So you can see where the breathing happens, you know, because there's like with that one, I'm doing a lot of vocals. So when you're using your voice, you're exhaling a lot. So at a certain point in time, you need to get more air. So you'll do little things to kind of circulate that back in. So there's that whole to build it back up, so you can. And the kind of is true. I'm literally going and going at the same time. Silly as it sounds. This is a B. This is an agave didgeridoo. It's in the lower frequency range for most players. There are some really low ones out there. I got a friend, Anthony Allman, who makes them, and it's like he's got like a low A. That's I can't even get it to make any kind of noise. Yes, ma'am. Let's see. The note is a combination of length and diameter. So it's like if you take any one of these tubes and make it shorter, think of a trombone. Literally, it'd be like, "Rrr." But on the engineering side, you know, like this gentleman over here, whose name I don't know. What's your name? Jerome. Okay. Well, Jerome. I'm Jeremy, by the way. He made these. Like he designed them and 3D printed them, and these things are ridiculous. So you'll be able to try these later. He's not trying to sell them, but they are for sale, I believe. Maybe something like that. Maybe.
I can make more when I get home.
Yeah, type of thing. Probably in a particular color if you have a color. But they're amazing. Like it's just crazy, you know. So it's like, you know, once you start in this world of making your own instruments, it's ridiculous, and it will carry you into ridiculous places, and it will bring you all over the world if you want it to. I mean, I've been all over the place. But so anyway, but yeah, length and diameter, and it just really depends. So like the PVC one there, if you made it longer, like literally, if you just made it longer, it'd just be like, nope, PVC. Yeah, it's just a nice PVC instrument. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah, that's probably, oh my God, what's the name? Starts with an M. No, it's the International. Dang it, I'll remember later. Because I can tell by the mouthpieces. But nothing wrong with it though. It's a great instrument. They work well. But let's see. So
what are yours made out of?
these two are leather, and then this is agave. I used to make a lot of them out of agave, and I got a bunch back there. But
Is it leather?
leather, yeah, sole leather actually. But the guy in Salt Lake City, he makes like leather clothing and stuff like that, and then he's got the didgeridoos, and yeah, I mean they're very stinky. They're very stinky. It's the only thing I can tell you. Like nobody's playing them after you. Let's put it that way. Hitty-yom. That's literally what I'm doing. And this one's kind of hard to do tonguing stuff on, but Yo. Come on. What he did. So anyway, exactly. So that's that. So that's some of the stuff we'll be working on. So as far as didgeridoo people go, this is loud. Who's like the first timers? Like never at all, ever. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. All right. No problem. So I usually divide the workshop kind of into two parts. So playing the didge in the beginning is kind of pain in the butt, except the lips. The student instruments, which are just straight up PVC, cut to a third, which is not any particular note. It's just for workshop purposes only. There's charts online where literally if you wanted to make a D to say go with your flute, you can literally go online and find the measurements and it will tell you what it is and you just cut it and you can play it. Like the fancy ones, like that one, sound a little better than plain vanilla PVC pipe. But like same thing with this one, you know, it's like you could characterize it a little bit and it like totally changes the dynamics of how it sounds. And you can get creative. It's relatively inexpensive still. And just don't make any smoke off of the thing. That's toxic gas, it's not really good. But, so, playing, there's two styles of playing. For your lips, your embouchure, how you carry this thing. You could be straight on, or you could be slightly off center. I am a slightly off center guy. Traditional technique is straight on.
Say that again.
Nope. Nope. So if you can play straight on, I would encourage you to try and play straight on. I gotta change where this is at because it's pulling. But what we're gonna do here, come on, get on the loop. You can't have any air leaks. So when you put your mouth into it, you want your lips to be kind of just relaxed, just as if you're standing there. Hey, I'm really bored. Put your lips into the instrument and you just push slightly because you don't want any air leaks. If you have air leaks, it's not going to work. If you have lip piercings, yeah, good luck. Beards sometimes can vary. That's where beeswax would kind of really help if you have facial hair. So like, you know, if you're running to have problems, you might have to mush it around in there a little bit. Same thing with you. I know like with these ones, like if I'm playing for a while and I have like facial hair at all, like I'll actually bleed. It's weird, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, bleeding from nowhere. It's miraculous. And gross. But so yeah, I don't see anybody with lip piercings at all. 'Cause I have somebody online right now, she's like, I can't play this thing worth beans. And I'm just sitting there going like, I don't know how to tell her. Like, because she's got two, like on both lips, like right where like the didge needs to sit. And I'm like, I don't think it's gonna vibrate. Like, cause your lips are vibrating, you know, it's like it's a diaphragm. You are the instrument really. This is the amplifier. So anyway, however you want to do this, what you're gonna wind up doing, keep your lips relaxed, just normal position. You're gonna put your lips into it, and then you are not breathing hard. Just however you're breathing, you're gonna exhale through your mouth, inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth, and you're gonna try and pronounce a soft P and just kind of go make a small raspberry. You don't need to blow as hard. Nice and soft. No, it's fine. Just keep going. Oh, I like this thing. Somebody else I know has one of these, and I'm trying to remember. It's there. You don't have to blow as hard. Nearly as hard. Nice. 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 Okay, you don't need to squeeze hard at all. You're keeping the lips tight like trumpet. Just totally relax. Almost there. It's like blow super soft and don't even tighten your lips at all. But just keep trying, nice and gentle. And like think of it like kissing a butterfly. Good. You're getting the right thing. I'll work on that in a second. Tighten up just a tiny little bit. Perfect. All right, now on this side. All right. Nice. Nice. You don't need to blow so hard. Nice. Perfect. You guys are all good. Okay, cool. So actually, everybody's on some level getting the fundamental drone. And one of the things you could do, like if you cover over that little flappy thing that I can't remember in your ear, you can actually hear yourself play because you'll be able to hear the vibrations that your mouth is making. Sounds kind of odd, but so some of the things that I'm hearing, these vanilla ones. One of the reasons why I don't really alter them at all is because it makes a particular sound once you get the proper technique, and I use that air quotes because it's like there's no like really proper technique, right? I mean, it's like you're playing it, you're trying to achieve a certain goal, but I'm trying to get you to a certain embouchure with these things, and it should kind of sound like this little poppy Volkswagen Beetle exhaust type of thing. So if your lips are too tight, you'll sound like this. Yep, it is very silly, that is for sure. And if it's too loose, it'll sound flat. And flat, like just it's not coming out very well. So one of the things you could do, I mean, there's the either blowing more or less, or you can loosen or tighten your lips. I try and get the people to not blow as hard, because as you naturally relax, your lips will kind of loosen up. But if you are blowing really tight, yep. I used to get in trouble in school for this too, so it's really funny. As an adult, I'm sitting here going like, I really wish Miss Johnson could see this. But it's like, yeah, I was never gonna go anywhere. Like I designed NASA in my early 20s. Anyway, didn't go anywhere. So if you blow soft, you could play longer, but I mean, you're not killing yourself. Everything about you right now should really be in a relaxed state. I know I probably look all energetic and stuff, but I was playing really energetic stuff. So this is literally just you breathing. So I just want to inhale and then just make the noise. And you can hear for yourself if you're going, just really just relax your whole face and just try to pretend like you're not doing it. Like just, and then if you are too loose, you could either try and blow a little harder or just tighten your lips a little bit, but not both. Because the volume of air is just going to make it louder or softer, that's it. Like that's the only thing it's going to really do. Until you get to different instruments and then it has some percussive stuff. But for the most part, everybody was there. So, yes.
Are you supposed to puff out your cheeks or keep them like tight?
Whichever one you want to do. So, traditional technique is going to be always in, from my understanding. Let's put it that way. Since I am not allowed to teach traditional stuff. Traditional technique, I mean, is straight on, your cheeks are tight, and it's like almost all diaphragm driven, and it is a workout. I highly recommend that workout. But so for us, like we're kind of like our own bagpipe. So when we're playing with our instruments here, we're just using our whole body to try and keep it going. I'll touch circular breathing at the end, but I mean it's like I try not to focus on circular breathing because circular breathing will happen. Usually if you want it or not, if you follow some certain guidelines. But trying to do circular breathing and teach it, it's very mechanical. It's like literally it's like a piston in an engine, and valves. So like you're inhaling in, and it's like then you're closing off the throat, and then you're like exhaling out, and then you're closing off your throat again, and then you're using your cheeks to go to make the final noise. And then at that same time, you're inhaling, so you're going, and using water really works with that because you'll drown if you do it wrong. And then we bust out Sharpie markers. But then it comes out mechanical, and it will sound very like not musical. It's just purely mechanical function, and that will get you nowhere. Where it's like, I usually tell people to just kind of like just play when you need to breathe. Just stop for a second, and then quickly play again. And eventually, like you'll get it, and it's literally just. Like, hey, I just did it. Like, what did I do? And then you'll be confused, and then it changes how you play, and then it sucks. That's the only way to explain it. Once you learn to circular breathe, how you're playing without circular breathing, which is going to be more like drumming. You know, you're going to be playing until you can't do it anymore, and then you're going to stop, and then hopefully you come back in on beat again. And then and that's what I wound up doing in the beginning. I didn't have anybody teaching me anything, and it sucked. And then but then I played with drummers a lot, so it was a little bit different. So I had this beat to always come back on. But when I was by myself, it was just and just doing whatever, and then eventually, like, it just made no sense. It was like, oh, I could play this on a beat, and it would sound different, which is what we're gonna wind up doing today. So we could all drone on the beat, except once again, I didn't bring clap sticks.
Jeremy, could you describe more what your diaphragm breathing is?
Yeah, we're gonna get into that.
Oh, you are.
We're gonna get into that. So with the drone, that's your fundamental, right? That's what's gonna carry the whole entire thing. And I'm not gonna focus too much on that because, like, I can beat you up for the whole afternoon trying to get your technique on your lips to be a certain way, but then, like, you won't really go anywhere. And the more you play, as silly as it sounds, the easier it gets. And these things will just, like, tear your mouth up. So it's like, let's avoid that for now. But so let's see. So vocal stuff, yes. Nope. Nope. No hands. I mean, I don't know. It's all personal preference. You know, I mean, playing it in the ground is gonna, like, muffle it a little bit. So I mean, like, if you're in a didge circle or something like that, you know, it's gonna be hard. But, like, holding it up is really hard. I mean, some of them are heavy, so it's like if you're trying to hold up. I saw somebody with a traditional. Yeah, the lady back there. She's got. I mean, I think probably weighs upwards of 20 pounds.
Maybe.
Yeah. So it's a workout. I recommend switching arms every so often. Yeah. So it really depends. Like, on a lightweight instrument, you know, you can do whatever, but doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, your hands, I mean, I've had students that only had one arm, so yeah, it's just personal preference. But if you are playing in the ground, if you want somebody to hear it, you know, holding it up at their ear level, well, in their, like, direction is gonna work compared to muffling it in the grass. So, using the voice. The voice is pretty important. So one of the things I want you to try and do is I want you guys to blow a raspberry and vocalize or hum any kind of sound. So it will just basically sound like this. Or it could even be anything to get the scream out, the noise out. And I say any noise because this is one of those rubbing your stomach and patting your head things that people have a hard time with. And if you can do it, that's great. And if not, we could work on it. But even a primal scream, nice. There you go. Move along, sir, move along. Nice. And I don't care if you are actually droning. It's more of, like, the intention. Because, like, once again, if you're practicing it, eventually you'll get it. Nice. But you don't have to blow hard. Well, that's not true. Whatever you got to do to get the noise out. But your lips are super tight. It's close. You could, but don't worry about the drone. So it's like, at the end of the day, like, just be angry. Pretend your dog or cat did something bad. Just nice. So even if the drone drops out, use your voice. So, even if it's just like, perfect, that's awesome. Nice. Can you do it and go at the same time? Almost. I can almost hear it. It's hard. This is a really weird thing I was in concert band and went to band competitions for years. You don't have to blow nearly as hard. It's super, super soft. I want you to try a different instrument in a bit. One that has a bigger mouthpiece. I'm curious, because this is learning for me too, as much as it is everybody else. So everybody for the most part is doing pretty good. But this technique of literally like buzzing your lips and making this vocalization, I mean, I remember we had French horn players in the band that I was in. I was in band all the way through college and everything, and traveled the country playing competitions, which is really weird for music. But like the French horn players who could do that were like championed, like in the whole entire musical world, and it was like this big thing. And as a Didge player, I'm just kind of like, huh, like all right. But then I started doing the saxophone. I'm like, oh, that's how you get that cool sound. It's like, oh, never mind. But all right, so the vocalizations. So the one thing with me just getting you to make any noise through there, so you can eventually do other stuff. Hard sounds like bark like a dog. Oh, come on. Exactly, thank you. So everybody do that. Now buzz your lips and bark like a dog. Now do it through this thing. It's a very serious workshop. Covering serious topics like your barking technique. So this particular sound in playing the didgeridoo, there's a lot of like interesting sounds that wind up coming out. So you have the dingo bark, which is the you have the sound of water, which is not a vocalization, but it's more of a tongue movement. You're kind of going like oh yo 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 yo. Through this thing, it doesn't really sound great. Vocalizations don't really work well. And I'm literally just going oh yo 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 with my tongue. What about you have guttural sounds? So like not a bark, but think of a low growl. Ooh, think heavy metal. Ooh, ooh. And then you have like harmonics. I won't do it on that one, but literally humming. So you're literally like try humming the note that you wind up hearing. So those are just like examples. So in context, come on, man, let's leave me alone. I took a shower this morning. I don't smell that bad yet. So in context, like with what I was playing before, this thing works. You use those things kind of like seasoning. It's just kind of randomly thrown in there at your discretion. Since we're not playing like a traditional song that tells a story, it's really just where you're at. I used to play on the street for money, which was very lucrative at the time, a long time ago. Thinking about it now, it's like, man, I used to make hundreds of dollars by playing for a few hours, annoying the heck out of that vendor over there at the farmer's market. And then, because they hated it, they would look at me and just like shake their head as people just throwing money in a bucket, and I'm hiding the money from the bucket. Like, please give more. Anyway, but like people walk around with parrots. And all of a sudden, the parrot would literally make this random noise, and I would just be in this like weird state of mind because I'm playing, and then I was just completely reactionary. So all of a sudden, the parrot would be like, "Rah!" and I'd be like, "Ah!" and literally it just works. So you just throw it in there as spice. So like no matter what you're playing, and however you're playing it, you know, you could just throw it in there, but like do it on beat. You know, whatever you're doing, do it on beat. I'm literally just going. So, silly stuff, Sometimes it doesn't. And then you stop. Yep.
So each of the bark water valve humming was in conjunction with the buzzing of the lips.
Yep, you're almost always going to be buzzing. Almost. But don't worry about it. If the lips stop, don't worry about it. Just move on. Because, I don't know, this is a challenging instrument. It can be. So it's like, as you're learning over the years and whatever, and you're not using it to like beat things because you're frustrated playing it, it just gets easier and easier and easier. So it's like, I'm not trying to like push technique too hard on certain things. It's more of like, get the basics so you can have some fun with it, and then later on when it's like easier, it's like then the conversation is like, all right, how are you doing this? And that's where it's like getting together, like with the Dig Circle. Well, I mean, I don't know if that's going on this year. I don't think James is here again, but but then like, but just sharing, you know, in the campsite, be like, hey, let's play this thing. It's like, how are you doing that? Having that conversation, and that's really where the magic really happens. All right, so vocalizations, we got that one. The bark, the kookaburra, that's always a good one. Yep, the kookaburra, the largest of the kingfisher species. It's the laughing bird. You hear it in every Tarzan movie, even though it's like half a world away. But it's like saying goo goo gaga really loud. So you could try that if you want to, but it's literally saying goo goo gaga really loud, and I'll get into mouth shapes in a minute here, but it's all back of the throat stuff. So it's not forward vocals, it's back. So, vocalizations, like I said, you just kind of throw it in there whenever you feel like it, and however it's going to work out, whatever you're playing. Because one of the things like that I wind up doing, I should probably go into this before we get to the next part here, is like think of techno music. It just builds on itself. You know what I mean? It always starts something really simple. You know, something easy to get you going. Like, okay, where's it going? And you know, it's like simple stuff. It sounds crazy, but that's literally what we're doing. So it's like, if there was a drum beat going on in the background to play with, or if somebody remembered to blank clap sticks, we'd have something to go with. But if there's like literally a random beat, you can breathe on that beat, you know? And it doesn't matter. And it's like, you know, you could work into like putting in a bark, you know, after the third thing, then do a bark. Brr, 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 bark, brr. You know, that type of thing. And then you just start from there. It's like the beginning of a drum circle. You know, a lot of us, I mean, drum circles for most people is, you know, you're getting together and you're just kind of waiting for something to kind of congeal out of the soup that's going on there. But it's like if you're taking like Casey's West African class, you know, it's like da 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 boo boo boo, and then if you know the song, it's just boo da boo da boo da da boo da 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 da. You know what you're doing. But here, it's like it's a little bit different because it's, once again, this is what's inside you that's really going to happen. And trust me, you guys aren't hyper enough to be like what I'm doing, you know, because it's just and then it's nuts. But it's like, in the beginning though, it's like, all right, I want to be relaxed, and you're trying to play with the guy with the flute, or you're playing the guy with the guitar, or in Gory, if it's in the right key, which is hard sometimes. So, but anyway, but you know, just doing everything on beat is pretty important. So let's see, got that, got all those. So tongue work. So you have single, double, and triple tonguing, but it's not that hard. So basically, if you say vowels of any type, like say T, you know, say like ta ta ta, da da da, do do do, dee dee dee. Notice my mouth shape is changing. Da do dee da do dee. You know, it's like all this other stuff. In these instruments, it's not too good, but no, I'll do mouth shapes first, but it still works. So. Da-doo-dee, da-doo-dee. You know, my lips are still buzzing, but my mouth cavity's changing shape, so the resonation that happens, just like in these things, I mean, well, it's the same for these too, but in the instrument, that carrier frequency changes. So this is still the note of F, that's still whatever it is, that's still that, but you're gonna hear you hear all sorts of different sounds, and that's where playing the didgeridoo kind of gets more of its melodic function, if you want to put it in there. So I want everybody to basically do mouth shapes. Oh my God, somebody brought clapsticks. Somebody's prepared for class. Well, thank you. So say A-E-I-O-U, but exaggerated, just like A-E-I-O-U, big mouth shapes. And the reason why I'm getting you guys big mouth shapes is usually when you're playing, you kind of, everybody, including myself, kind of, it backs off. So you're not going to be like going, you know, making your lips so big, but you'll see when you're playing, like you can get to a certain size, but you want to have that A-E-I, and the tongue movement is integral to that. And then you can play and once again, if you hold that little flappy thing in your ear, you can hear yourself. And you should be able to hear it, yes. Yes, in conjunction with the mouth shape. Yep, that's the rubbing the belly and patting the head part, and then as soon as you dance afterwards. So that works, even in Tibetan voice. So one of the things we'll get to in a little bit here is like just the simple song, but like your vowel shapes, your mouth shapes, that carries the song, so to speak. It gives some movement to it. So like if you're just gonna play with no like deviation in mouth shape, it's kind of like very sterile. There's no movement to it. So if I actually use my mouth, it's the same thing, except I'm moving my mouth around a bunch. So, the mouth shape really matters. But once again, this is one of those things where it's like, you can't really like, outside of the practice portion of literally just trying to do like, and trying to over-exaggerate to get that bouncy sound. It translates well on this one, but that pitch bending where you're like kind of in tune and out of tune. That's the only function of it. So it's like trying to practice that separate. If this is a piano, it'd be a heck of a lot easier to practice. But it's just one of those million other techniques that you can work on. Tonguing is basically the percussive element of the instrument. So you have any single tonguing like kind of combination of syllables, just like I said before, where it's like ta ta do do dee dee. Your tongue moves all over the place when you make those noises. Like ta ta is right up front, do do, tongue kind of like in the back. So dee dee, it's like the tongue flattens out and goes backwards. I wish I had a camera. That'd be so gross. You know, it's like trying to like see the in there, like the mouth shape as you're doing this. Because there are things out there where you can see that stuff and it's kind of nasty. But guys in Europe, man, guys in Europe. But it's like very good teachers and everything, but it's too technical. Like you can't see inside of my mouth. It's like I don't even feel my tongue when it's doing this. But so
Superhumans episode on vocals.
yeah, yep, exactly. I think that's what it was. And then but the mouth, you know, that tonguing, and once again, it's a percussive thing. So it's like you try and do it like literally on a beat. So it'd be like ta, 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 ta. But I don't know. Go ahead and try that. Just whenever you're droning, just count in your head, and then like when you're ready, just ta, and then like on whatever beat number again, if it was 4. Ta, 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 ta. And you should notice that the drone is going to drop out slightly, which is really what we want. And feel free to stop when you make the ta, like making noise and everything, and just wait to the next beat. Ta, 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 ta. Once again, bringing that back to that whole drumming aspect where you just want to be on the beat, so you're not coming in randomly. So, and then, let's see, and doing like fast tonguing, I mean, like for single tonguing is kind of hard, ta, 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 like that's really not what you do. I'd encourage you to try it for exercise purposes, but I don't know, playing in practical application, that's kind of hard. Next you have double tonguing, which is more of the classical fast playing tongue work, but you're just combining 2 syllables together. Ticka, digga, doogu, digi, taka taka, doogu doogu, digi digi. You know, something goofy, but you'll notice like your tongue basically is going back and forth. Ticka, 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 ticka. And with this one, I recommend just droning and just trying to make that ticka, 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 ticka on one breath. So it'd be like, you know, so on one breath, do ticka, 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 or dooga, 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 diggy, 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 until you have to stop and take a nice long breath in. And this is purely the training portion of this exercise. In context of playing, you wouldn't do this long duration usually. And with this particular tonguing technique, when you're by yourself and it's a little bit different, you can really hear the noise that you're making. You want to make sure whatever you're doing, your tongue is literally like repeating the same motion in the same place consistently. With traditional techniques, it's a lot easier to figure that out, because like if you do it wrong, it really messes up. Where like in the how we're playing it, it's totally different. But once you get that consistency, then once again you get to kind of throw it in there. And some rhythms with this, along with the droning and some diaphragm work. Tick-a-ta-ta, tick-a-ta-ta, tick-a-ta, tick-a-ta-ta, tick-a-ta-ta. You know, tick-a-ta, tick-a-ta-ta, tick-a-ta, tick-a-ta, tick-a-ta. Actually, let me see if I can do it. So, I'm not thinking about breathing, I'm just literally doing it, and the breathing happens magically. Yes, ma'am?
With the lightheadedness, do you get used to it and you don't get so lightheadedness with all the breathing?
Oh, that's complicated.
Did you get lightheaded when you were learning? Is it normal?
Oh, yeah. In the beginning, it sucks.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean,
Feel better?
I don't want to put it like that way, but yeah, in the beginning, it's kind of hard, because like, you know, depending on like your desires and what you want to play, it's like the breathing portion is really hard. So it's like at the end of the day, like your diaphragm, I'm kind of going to a different aspect of this one, but you're like, if you think of like this thing being like your air volume. You know, you never want to be too low, right? Because you're always going to be in that like, I need more oxygen level. And if you're too high with breathing, you're going to be hyperventilated, which might be like the cause of like lightheadedness. So you need to like kind of get the air out more. So you might have this like desire to just, you know, expel out, which like a lot of times, like if I'm playing a rhythm where I'm hyperventilating, hyper's too much, right? Yeah, okay. I'm blonde, and sometimes that gets reversed in my head for some reason. So a lot of times what I'll do is like this weird technique, I'll blow it out the side. So I'll stop playing whatever I'm doing and do like this weird thing. So it'll be like, and I'll literally like use the side of my mouth to blow off extra air while trying to do some goofy thing. But that's kind of like, I don't want to say that's a pro technique. I mean, it's kind of cheating in a way, but it's like, it's what I got to do to kind of get the air out besides going like, using vocals. Like a lot of times on stage, I'll just sit there and just be like, like big vocal to try and get the air out. And then I'll try and do some quiet-ish things. Because if you play softer, you're not breathing as hard. And then you're not as, I don't want to say energetic, because like on stage, like I'm in a band and stuff, but when you're on stage and you're performing, or regardless of the situation, you usually put a little bit more energy into it, and then, but you don't need to, because you got a microphone, or you know, you're really close to somebody and you don't need to blast them out, so you can literally just be a little quieter and do it, and then you can get your homeostasis ready. So you're always trying to like be in this weird middle range of breathing that is totally independent, like everybody. I mean, I know people like run marathons, and I'm going like, I don't even want to run downstairs, like, you know, type of thing. So just wherever your air's at, but you got to figure that out for yourself. And it is exercise. Like this is purely exercise at this point. So it's like, I encourage that, like especially when you're by yourself. And you know, if you're a TV watcher, like during commercials, pick this up, mess with it, and don't think about it. Like don't treat this like a piano where you're trying to run scales. It's literally try and have fun and work on goofy stuff. Because like literally my drive here yesterday, I mean I'm by myself, thankfully. And so you'll drive people nuts. But like when our band is on tour, it's the same thing. I'll sit there and work on some stuff, and it's just like you can feel the eyes from the guy next to you, kind of just shut up, please. Like, until Sean starts driving and he's doing. Anyway, fun stuff. But you know, gotta love it. So let's see. Yeah. So the tonguing. Let's see. That winds up being percussive. And then you're kind of working it in there, but once again you're doing everything on beat. You know, that type of thing.
You didn't do triple?
Not yet. Yeah, triple tonguing is a little bit hard because you're trying to string 3 syllables together, and it's basically a follow-up to the 2. Think of like tabla technique. You know what I mean? And it's like you're saying that. And you could do it, but it's kind of hard to do with 4/4 stuff. So I would encourage that, but we don't need to do that now. It's like 1 and 2 is fine, because with the 2 you could just sit there and be like trying to get your tongue into place like diggy 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 diggy. Yeah, see, I messed up. Diggy 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 diggy. I mean, I don't know, is Tatiana here still? No, she's over there. I mean, I had a show come up at one point in time, and I have to practice, because I mean, COVID, you know, got everything all goofy, and I really didn't play that much. I just got busy with work, and the band stuff had me all depressed, so I was like, shit, I got a show, and I need to learn how to play again. So literally, I'm just sitting there going, digga 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 digga, like literally no joke, just sat there for an hour hammering out tonguing techniques, because I got 3 songs where I got to really play that for 5 minutes straight, and that was rough. Yes?
With the treble and the triple, is it that you're having 3 or 2 syllables in a row, or is that the vowel sound of that changes?
The vowel sound is honestly just up to you. It's like part of your song.
Stay the same, it's the number.
Yeah, just purely the percussive elements. And the thing is with mouth shapes, since they're all different, you know, it's like the A-E-I-O-U thing. It's like as you're playing, and like everybody winds up getting their own song. You know, it's like if you sit down and play something, you're gonna play something, and you're gonna probably play it again the next time you play, type of thing. until you have like a different stimulus where like 2 people are playing. So that's kind of one of those things. So it's fun and interesting, but like if you start throwing in like the random like double tone, and speed doesn't matter. If you can do it slow, perfect. If you can do it fast, perfect. I'm actually running longer than I usually am. Nobody has to go anywhere, do they? Okay, yeah, I am, man. I'm like,
Nowhere from here.
I'm gonna try and cram this in an hour, and I just don't feel like I want to do that, like for some reason. So I'm like, So it's like, if you can do it slow. So if you can play it slow and work up fast, you know, like a lot of times the rhythms just change, and you might think like, this is really boring slow. But if you play it fast, like all of a sudden it turns into like, whoa, that's crazy, like how it sounds. And it's literally like what it is. So it's like with the diaphragm, which we're gonna jump into, so diaphragm work, it's another percussive element. So the diaphragm, you know, it's the muscle that makes us breathe. If you have diaphragm problems, that's a problem, because you won't be breathing, and that's a problem. So one of the rhythms I use is the sounds like huh, he, huh, he, huh, he, huh, he. If you notice the mouth shapes in there, he, huh, he. Now this is pure exercise. You could do this, you know, as part of a song, but I mean, literally, this is like doing sit-ups. It's horrible. Yeah, exercise. So, huh, he, he. I have to sit down for this, but sometimes your posture matters. So this is a simple rhythm, playing slow. It doesn't really sound like much, and I'm going to try and not screw this up. That's the same rhythm. Ha he ha he, just he ha he ha he ha he. Like traditional playing, the rhythm is completely driven by the diaphragm. So like I was saying before, I can't even mimic it because like I said, I really, really suck at it. But it's basically the same thing, just straight on, and your cheeks don't move. So like the circular breathing is all about the diaphragm, and you're literally just panting like a dog for however long you play that. So, but for us, and what I like to get everybody else doing is like literally, and this is where like, if you're having trouble playing the drone, you know, in the beginning, and I try not to really work on you too hard so your lips don't get blown out and you don't get frustrated at me and hit me with the instruments. Like, just treat it as like a percussive element. So, like, especially in the beginning, like think of that as your downbeat, like your bass tone on the